Hey friend, I've got a guided reading for you today. As always, feel free to gaze at the cards while I'm talking, see if anything tickles your own intuition. Remember, some things are going to resonate less and some things are going to resonate more, but the important part is if you're growing. So let's go ahead and get started. Guiding our reading today, we have Tayton the Sylph. Okay, Tayton the Sylph really loves this, dissemination of ideas, communication, deep thoughts about life, right? She really connects to, like teenagers and college age people having those contemplative, deep thoughts about life that, those mysteries, really thinking about the meaning of things. Now, it is important when we have Tayton to remember to kind of not just think the thoughts and not just have the contemplations about life, but to really ground this into our reality and just how we live our life and interact with other people. You are this individual in the Nine of Pentacles here, right? You are this self-made woman, this self-made man, or, non-binary person, whoever you are. You probably have some sort of security you've created for yourself, right? You have this certain amount of self-reliance, this certain amount of wealth that you've created for yourself. And now this has come from you having to isolate a certain amount in your life, right? We have this hermit energy, right? You have stepped back in order to really kind of understand yourself, you understand your place in the universe, and maybe kind of gain some insights about things, right? The thing about this is it brings you into this kind of like Ace of Wands, right? That's, the Hermit, when you take time to step aside, when you take time to really kind of understand things, the point is that you do eventually return. You do eventually come back with something beautiful and special that you can share with others, right? So we have this Ace of Wands. When you have gone within, you found something valuable that you want to share, that you want to kind of bring into the world. And maybe it's time now for things to change, to come out of this hermit mode, to really start connecting with others, right? We have the Wheel of Fortune, okay? When we have the Wheel of Fortune, normally that's, the ups and downs of life, being able to navigate things. But I see the girl here, she's got these two tickets, right? You have gained this higher vantage, right? Maybe if you were at the top of the wheel, but now you want to share this with others, right? The insight and wisdom that you have gained from your own experiences is now being brought into an opportunity, bringing you into an opportunity to share and really kind of like use this in your life rather than just simply thinking about it, right? We have the Ace of Cups next, all right? You see this individual here on the balloon. He's drinking his wine, looking over the river flowing here, right? There is this outpouring, this overflow of your emotional energy, right? The Ace of Cups is that heart energy, that overflow, that pouring, that awakening, right? So you've had some sort of an insight in your life. You've had some sort of something that has brought you to the point to where instead of just being a philosopher, instead of just, thinking about life, you really express it with the connectedness, with the emotion, with the value of, the people that you have in your life. And you come into this Queen of Pentacles energy, okay? So the Queen of Pentacles, she's very good at nurturing others. She's very good at, you know, knowing how to create the space or help others to be able to become their fullest sense of self, to be able to become their fullest self. The queen in this deck, she's you could say she's a manager probably of some sort of studio or some sort of artist, right? Sometimes even if you aren't the person who's directly on stage, you have this direct impact for those who have some sort of important thing to play in life, who have something special to bring in. All right. Next up is the Six of Swords, okay? So perhaps maybe life has kind of created a situation for you where you need to move from one thing to another, right? That is that coming out of that hermit energy and into something new. All right, now we have the lady here with her child leaving behind somebody. So perhaps circumstances weren't ideal, right? Life has kind of said, all right, well, you've learned the thing, you've grown, and now it's time for you to move on, but you are a little bit resistant, so it kind of shoves you. Maybe you've had a little bit of a tower moment, but the thing of the matter is to remember that this is intended for the purpose of bringing you into something more beautiful. As a matter of fact, the next card up I have is the Sun, right? That is the happiest card in the deck. You see the girl here, she's got her camera, she's got all these sunflowers. You now have this chance to not only enjoy the beauty of life, to really kind of connect and capture, the experience so it's something more lasting, okay? When you step into this joy, when you're moving out of the old life and into something new, this very new promise and beautiful kind of thing that is presented for you, on the other side of whatever it is that's making you have to travel from where you were to where you're going now, you move into this Ten of Pentacles, okay? That's that generational wealth, that connection, the community. You want to have others that you share life with. You want to have others that you're celebrating with, right? And not just emotionally, but like true prosperity that you can share with others. And I think you are really moving in that direction, right? Like I said earlier on, you're that self made individual, but now it's time for you to move from that point into connecting with others, right? You were that Nine of Pentacles, but moving into the Ten of Pentacles, it's an even greater wealth, even greater wholeness that comes through that connection. Up next, we have the Three of Cups, okay? The Three of Cups is this nice reminder to really kind of celebrate the individuality of everybody, right? We have the three girls here, each of them unique in their own way, celebrating, enjoying life together. You really kind of want to recognize that everybody's at a different point in their own life, that everybody has their own unique strengths and weaknesses, right? Sometimes, whenever we get these ideas or really, big, powerful things that we want to bring into the world, has a tendency to kind of get us a little bit, overinflated and inflated in our egos. And when you move into this Five of Swords energy, right? This tendency to always want to be right, the tendency to win at all costs. But in our relationships and the way that we connect with other people, this can be destructive, right? You see the guy walking away here, obviously his buddy, he won whatever the game, but then you see him walking away very distressed, very distraught, very upset. So the thing to remember is that even though you have a certain insight, even though you have certain things that you feel like are important, sometimes the emotionally intelligent thing to do, even if you know you're right, is to not necessarily try to have to win at all costs, right? You don't have to be the victor because the connection you have with others, the people that you value in your life, are more important than just this desire to be right, right? You would come into this Five of Pentacles energy if you're being a little bit too harsh, if you're feeling that you have to be the person who wins, okay? So try not to really kind of be overly pressing, like I have to be right, things have to be my way. Because if you do, this is where the disconnection happens. This is where you feel left out, right? Ideas themselves are just how we really understand things, but it is that connection with others that's really kind of the thing of life, the thing to enjoy. And like I said, you really want to celebrate the uniqueness of every individual, right? We have the Six of Wands. That's our celebration card. You see the two girls here, the love, the beauty, the celebration, this, pride event. You understand that everybody has something special. And rather than, being right, like I said, if you acknowledge that everybody has something unique and wonderful to bring to the table and celebrate that instead, that is the very thing that is going to create a more beautiful experience for you, something more to share with others. We move into the Four of Wands, right? Four of Wands could be that marriage card. It's the new world, after the Three of Wands, when we see the individual standing on the castle looking at the boats coming in or, whatever. So the Four of Wands here is that point that you choose instead to share with others. You choose instead to build with others, okay? And when you do this, of course, obviously there's going to be work to put in. We have the Eight of Pentacles. That's the putting in reps, right? You understand, like, even when you come into a point, maybe if you have a disagreement with somebody that people think like, oh, the grass is always greener on the other side. But the truth of the matter is the grass is greener where you water it, right? If you put in the work, the emotional nurturing, and the connection with those who are important to you, that is the thing that's going to bring you to your success. That's the thing that's going to bring you to judgment, all right? You celebrate. You really kind of, have this point to where you've put in the work. And so now you come to the new thing, right? The judgment, the graduation here. The girl, she put in the time, the study. She really, took the effort to become somebody worthy to move on, to have that, diploma to say, I have what it takes to have something beautiful. That beauty, that celebration, that hard work that you put in with the Eight of Pentacles pays out. Obviously, you're not getting a diploma from having a relationship or a friendship or whatever the case being, but what you're getting is the fruit of your results, the rebirth, the awakening into something considerably more beautiful and connected and wonderful comes in from those efforts. So you have that judgment energy. Now, the thing is, whenever we're connecting with other people, something important to remember is their inner child. Okay. So we have the Six of Cups here, right? That is that nostalgia card, the inner child, right? Obviously, the man and woman here with the child, they're very important, business people, adults, you see all the things in the background on their board, but then you have that drawing from the little kid there, right? The point being is you want to celebrate that joy. You want to celebrate who you are, and you want to celebrate who the other person is as a whole. And that means recognizing that that inner child, the part of them that wants the connection, that wants to feel safe, that wants to feel loved, has always been there, and it never goes away, right? Just because we grow as people, and learn new things and develop new skills and mature, doesn't mean that that core part of us that wanted that connection ever goes away. And if you recognize that the person you're talking to, you're recognizing that the person that you're connecting to still is that inner child, still is that same person who had the hopes and the joys and wanted to really just, in connect with others and feel safe and free and loved, that right there is going to be far more important, right? That's what's going to help you as an individual to grow, right? We have the Ace of Pentacles, the new idea. We have, the guy here, he's got the basketball. He's the same guy in this card, who put in the practice and put in the reps. So there is that reminder, that when you have that inspiration, or that when you put in the practice, or when you do the thing, you know, yes, you become this person, you become stronger, you build those muscles, but you are always the same one here who had the hopes and dreams to be able to become somebody bigger. All right, friend. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this is a good reminder that yes, you have insights, you have certain things that you've really kind of developed and, built up for yourself, and you want to see other people succeed too. And the point is not to get too overinflated in your ego, to remember that the other person is also, somebody valuable, somebody who wants to connect, and that that inner child is there, that the person is somebody deserving of love. All right, if you've liked this video, go ahead and give me a like. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, go ahead and subscribe. You can drop a comment for me, drop a sunflower emoji if you don't know what to put. In case you haven't heard, I've been doing some short stories and fairy tales interpreted through tarot. You might like Edgar Allan Poe, so check this video out here. Or if you're looking for another tarot reading, you can check out this playlist here, and I will see you in the next one.